In this video, we're going to take a look at the BSCP certification. I recently passed the exam and I thought I'd make a video just giving my thoughts and some tips and tricks for anybody who's looking to take this exam. So what is the BSCP? It stands for the Burp Suite Certified Practitioner, and according to Portswigger, the exam is a challenging practical examination designed to demonstrate your web security testing knowledge and Burp Suite skills. To pass the certification exam, you're required to demonstrate an in-depth knowledge of a wide range of vulnerability classes and the Burp Suite functionality required to support you in discovery, understanding, and exploitation. Just a little bit of context then as to why I decided to do this certification. Mainly because I work for Integrity, which is a bug bounty company, and I'm wanting to get better at bug bounty and web hacking generally myself. I also make videos for Integrity going through Portswigger Labs, so I figured this was a good choice for the next certification. Bearing in mind that I already have the OSCP from 2019 and the Hack the Box CPTS in 2022. Those of you who have seen my Hack the Box CPTS review will recognize this PowerPoint, and I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to go through what the exam involves, how to prepare for it, some tips and tricks, and then some commonly asked questions. The first thing I want to mention is the certification does expire after 5 years, so you do need to repeat the exam every 5 years if you want to keep it valid. That's not the case with the OSCP and the CPTS certifications that I have. However, it is a lot cheaper, so it's £69 before VAT. I think it totaled to £82 whenever I did it. But you do need a Burp Pro license, which is around £400 a year. Some places online do say that you can use a trial, and I did see this confirmed by Portswigger on their forum, but then other people say that you can't use a trial, and I also saw that confirmed by Portswigger on Twitter, so I'm not too sure. I actually used my trial a few years ago in order to complete the expert labs that required Burp Collaborator. Portswigger uses a third-party service of proctoring called Examinity, which requires you to verify your ID, answer some secret questions, and then screen share at the beginning of the exam. You also need to use a Google Chrome browser, and I had some tech issues with this on my first attempt. I'll try and talk about that a little bit later, but just make sure you check the system requirements before you get ready to start the exam. Make sure you've got Chrome, a webcam set up, and things like that. You don't need the webcam running throughout the exam, by the way. You'll just need it at the beginning in order to verify your identification. As you can probably imagine, there are some strict exam conditions. For example, cheating will result in a permanent ban, and you must use a Burp Suite project file and then submit it at the end of the exam for analysis. Obviously, you cannot get help from anybody else or share your exam addresses. And finally, the requirements. We've talked about this a little bit, but you need to verify your ID. You need to have some technical skills in order to use Burp Suite and find these web vulnerabilities. You need to be proficient with English, and you need a non-Linux OS for the proctoring, but you can use a virtual machine to do your exam on. And you'll need Google Chrome as well for proctoring, but again, you can use other browsers for the actual exam, and you'll need a webcam and Burp Suite Pro. Now let's talk about the exam itself. It lasts for 4 hours, and you have 2 vulnerable web applications. In order to pass the exam, you need to get user, admin, and root on both of those web apps. That's 6 points in total. And it looks something like this. First, on each of the apps, you'll need to access any user account. So that's like the low-level user. You'll then need to use your account to access the admin interface. So either by elevating your privileges or compromising the admin account. And then finally, you'll use the admin interface to read the contents of the secret file in Carlos's home directory. So this means it is a linear exam, and I talked about this on the CPTS review as well. If you fail any one step, you'll fail them all, and it means that if you can't compromise the initial user account or get the user access at the beginning, you'll never even find out what the vulnerabilities might be for the admin or for the root. And this really hit me hard this time. I actually failed the first exam attempt, and on the second attempt, I was a lot more confident, but I didn't actually get any flags for the first 2 hours, so halfway through the exam, I had 0 out of 6. And then I managed to get both of the user flags, and then it took me around 30 or 40 minutes to get all 6 flags. So just bear that in mind. If you don't get those first 2 flags, you'll never even get to see what vulnerabilities there are to get to the admin or get to the root. Each lab has up to 1 active user or an administrator who will visit the homepage every 15 seconds and will click on any links in any emails they receive. If you find a reflected vulnerability, you can use the exploit server to send it to the victim, and this is very similar to the Portswigger lab, so you should be familiar with this. Portswigger warns you that you should be careful with powerful functionality, so you do have the ability to break the core app functionality or to delete users that will be required to finish the exam, and there's no option to restart, so if you delete a user or break the app, you'll just have to fail the exam and wait until next time. Some other things they advise is there might be a potential SSRF on localhost 6566, so if you think there might be an SSRF, that's the only port worth trying. There's also a username and password list that you can download, and in some cases the exam might have a login box with some different error messages depending whether a user account exists or not. So if you're able to enumerate usernames, then you'll want to use that username and password list to crack the account. So how do you prepare for the exam? Well, Portswigger has some good recommendations. The first is to finish all of the topics on the Web Security Academy. I would recommend that you actually finish all of the labs, so that is the apprentice, the practitioner, and the expert, although Portswigger do just say practitioner. And at the end of each topic, you should go through and test out the mystery labs. So just for that topic, maybe go through and do like between 3 and 10 mystery labs, make sure you can solve them, and review any content that you don't understand. When you finish the academy, I'd also recommend that you do mystery labs from any category, and that will help you develop your recon skills. And there are a list of 8 labs that Portswigger particularly recommends. They're not necessarily vulnerabilities that will come up in the exam, but they help you reinforce the core concepts that will be useful for most vulnerability types. Once you've done all that, complete both of the practice exams, although they are very similar. I wish they would maybe make some more or change them up a little bit, and take notes as you go through the practice exams. Finally, make sure you have all your tools, cheat sheets, payloads, things like that prepared, even note templates. So if you want to take notes for the exam, just make a template in Obsidian or Notion or whatever you use with like both of the exams. So you have a exam 1, exam 2 heading, and then in there you have a user, admin, and root heading, and maybe just prepare in there some links, some payloads, and things that you can just throw if those vulnerabilities come up. Okay, so those were the Portswigger recommendations, but I also have some more recommendations. I would say if you have time, and depending how much you feel you need to brush up on some of these areas, it might be worth looking at challenges on other sites as well. So you could look at the web-focused boxes and challenges on Hack the Box. You could look at the DVWA series, or maybe the monthly integrity challenges, which are web-focused as well. And if you have Hack the Box Academy, maybe you can have a look through the bug bounty track in there, because a lot of that content will be relevant. Now, if like me, you completed the Academy over a long period of time, you're probably going to need to review some topics. So I did this over, say, a 5-year period where every year new labs would come out, new topics, and I would complete them as I go. So that means that topics I completed 5 years ago are nowhere near as fresh in my mind as those that I did within the past few months. So what was my tactic here? Well, I basically wanted to work out what topics I wasn't very proficient in. So I made a list of every topic, and then I would go through and do a mystery lab from each topic and note down whether or not I solved it. And then I would repeat that process and do it, say, 3 to 5 times, so that you have a list of all of the topics, and then you can rank them by how poorly you performed, and then say, all right, I'll do the top third of these topics again, or the top half, depending on how much time you have. And then, once you've reviewed those topics, go back again, do some mystery labs, and see whether you've improved. So I would definitely recommend that. However, I will say that some labs aren't available in the mystery labs pool, so if you only do mystery labs, you're going to end up missing out on some of them. I would also recommend doing the apprentice labs, even if Portswigger doesn't specifically recommend it. However, I would say to try and solve them manually, as a lot of them will just be auto-solved by the Burp scanner. And the next recommendation is basically the opposite of that. So for the practitioner labs, I would also recommend using the Burp scanner and extensions, as well as doing them manually, but just to make sure that you know how to automate those processes. That's particularly good for the request smuggling, I think. And there are some great videos by Jarno on YouTube, which go through the request smuggling labs in a lot more detail than Portswigger. I only wish that they also showed how to solve each challenge with the extension. So what are the tips and tricks for the Burp Suite exam? The first is to find some good lab cheat sheets. So I was thinking this as I was going through the academy, that it would be great to have all of the solutions or the payloads in one single place. You could just do Control and F and copy and paste payloads without all of the filler and background info. I was going to do this myself, and then I realized quickly that many people had the same idea. So you can just Google for Portswigger lab solutions and BSCP cheat sheets, and you'll find some great examples. I'll leave some in the description based on the ones that I found particularly useful. On that note, some people actually went through as well and worked out what possible vulnerability types could come up for each stage. So what vulnerability could you see on the user stage versus the admin stage versus the root stage? You can also find some useful payloads on sites like Payloads All the Things and Hacktricks, which aren't necessarily on the Portswigger but could be useful for the exam. Next tip is to have Burp set up exactly how you like it. So make sure you're using a project file and take a snapshot of the VM so you can easily revert if needed. Obviously not while you're doing the exam, because you'll need that Burp project file. You'll also want to make sure you have some tools ready, so things like YSO serial and the PHP GCC for deserialization vulnerabilities, download the word list in case you need those to crack usernames and passwords. And in terms of the extensions, I found the HTTP request smuggler, param miner, JWT editor, JS miner, host header injection, Java deserialization scanner, and content type converter to be particularly useful. Maybe there are some other good ones. Leave them down in the comments if you find any that help you on the exam. You should also make sure you practice with external tools. So SQL map. This is a big one for me because during the labs, I didn't actually get it working. And it's because I normally copy the request into a text file and then use the -R option in SQL map to read that in. That wasn't working for me. I eventually realized that if I actually did it just with the standard SQL map command where I put in the URL and the cookies and things like that, it did work. I'm pretty sure actually I tested it later, taking out a lot of the headers in the request, and that also worked. But just to bear in mind, I would probably recommend just using the command line options and not copying and pasting a request if you need to use SQL map. You also need to use YSO serial, PHP GCC if any deserialization vulnerabilities come up. Just make sure you're familiar with that. Finally, I would recommend taking notes during the exam and keeping your Burp project files so that if you fail, you can really review everything. I actually failed my first attempt and I went back and had a look through the Burp project file. I basically worked out, okay, what possible vulnerability types could this be? What particular labs could help? And then I went and copied all of those links into the notes in case that same vulnerability came up in the next exam. On to some frequently asked questions. The first is probably how hard is the exam? I would say it's similar to the practice exams, but a fair bit harder. And because you need all 6 flags, it's linear. If you don't know how to solve any one step, you will fail the exam. How long does it take to prepare is another difficult question because, as I said, I started the academy over 5 years ago and I read the new topics and labs as they came out. Some topics were fresher in my mind, and I also have experience with some of the vulnerabilities from playing CTFs and making videos for Integrity and for my own channel. And for some context, I actually read the Web Application Hackers Handbook over 10 years ago, so that was the precursor to the Web Security Academy. And a lot of that I've forgotten about, but some of it has kind of stayed with me. I also did other certifications, as I mentioned, OSCP, CPTS, and I have an academic background in cybersecurity as well. That might sound like I'm bragging. I'm not. I'm just trying to convey the factors that go into a question like how long does it take? How long did it take you? I might not have spent years preparing for the BSCP exam, but it's undoubtable that those years of experience helped to ensure that I was prepared. So for that same reason, I can't really answer for you how long it'll take. Everybody is different. It'll depend on your learning style, the speed that you learn at, and what your prior experience and knowledge is. Also bear in mind, I failed the first attempt, so I guess I wasn't prepared enough. And I kind of knew this, to be honest, but because the exam was so much cheaper than the other certifications I've done, I decided to give it a go and then just figured if I fail, I'll know for next time how much I need to revise. How does it compare to other certifications? Obviously, I can only compare it to the ones that I've done, which are the OSCP and the CPTS, although I did finish the CBBH track as well, but I didn't do the exam. Well, obviously, this is web focused, so there's no network, there's no privesc, there's no post-enum, pivoting, Active Directory, buffer overflows, things like that. It's probably the closest to the CBBH, but I think Portswigger is the gold standard of web security ever since they made that Web Application Hackers Handbook, so I would probably go for this first, personally. The exam is also a lot shorter, so it's 4 hours compared to 24 hours for the OSCP, or 7 days for the CPTS. And you don't need a report, and the proctoring is less strict than the OSCP, but slightly more strict than the Hack the Box. Although Hack the Box has the report element to kind of verify the work. The other thing is the expiration, so this one expires in 5 years, whereas the others offer a lifetime. To be honest, whenever certs expire, I don't think I would intend to do them again unless it's required by my employer. So what if you fail the exam? Well, I failed my first attempt, and Portswigger do have a part of their website which gives you some guidance on retaking your exams so that you can make sure you're prepared for the next time. So I'd recommend just reading through that and making sure that you feel you're prepared, just do enough revision. And I mean, the more times that you do the exam, the more idea you're going to have what vulnerabilities are going to come up as well. As I say, I did fail the exam. Let me just talk a little bit about that. So the first attempt, I got the first 2 flags, the user on both boxes, but I didn't get the others. And it was quite a stressful process for me because I had some issues with the proctoring setup at the beginning, some technical issues, particularly where it told me to share my screen and then it said you can close the window. And like the screen sharing was black. I closed the window and then I was like, hang on, this isn't being recorded. Am I going to like fail the exam because of it? So then I tried to go back onto the Examinity and going through their live chat support, and it just kept asking me for my details, and I'm like losing time on the exam. I'm getting pretty stressed, and then by the time I actually just went ahead and started working on the exam, my head was all over the place, and then it just gets more stressful, the pressure builds, and kind of the same with the second exam, to be honest. I always feel like if I wasn't in the exam setting, I would just do so much better. On my second attempt, I got to like 2 hours and 10 minutes in. I hadn't found any flags, hadn't got either of the users. And the more time that goes on, the more stressed you get, the more pressured you feel. Every tab you open is the wrong one. And yeah, but eventually I got both those users. And once I did, I don't know, I just kind of, my flow improved and I had both boxes finished within about half an hour. So would I recommend the BSCP? It depends on your goals. If your focus is web, then yes, definitely I'd recommend it. I think it's fairly priced and the labs are very good. And it's probably a good idea to get this one before more expensive certifications like the OSWE or even the CBBH. All right, time for the wrap up. So what are the pros and cons of the BSCP? Well, I think the pros are it's cheap compared to other exams, although it does require Burp Pro, but you can get a lot out of the year's subscription anyway. Maybe you want to do some bug bounty once you finish your exam, and that will be useful for that. There is good quality reader material and practical labs. Again, I see them as the gold standard when it comes to web hacking. And the exam is bearable, so the CPTS killed me with a 7-day exam, and then I failed it and I had to do another 7-day exam, and I used pretty much both of the full weeks to do it. OSCP also was 24 hours. I probably spent like 18 out of the 24 hours, so again, a stressful situation, and I like the idea that this one only takes 4 hours out of your day. What about the cons? Well, the expiration I think is a big one. It expires after 5 years, and again, I can't see myself repeating it, to be honest. The focus is on black box testing as well, which I don't think is a bad thing because, again, I want to get good at bug bounty and generally you don't have access to the source code. But you have the other certifications like the OSWE, which is more open and more about the source code review. I'm also not too sure what topics were going to come up in the exam, so it does say that anything older than a month can come up. But I feel like there are some labs that are unlikely to come up, like race conditions or LLM hacking, even after a month. And I feel like it would be good to get some clarity on that, but maybe that's just me. And I feel like there was a bit of a jump between the labs and the exam, and even between the practice exams and the exam. So I gave some feedback to Portswigger, and the first is to say that the mystery lab should be more granular. So at the moment, we can select a difficulty and a category, but it would be good to select a mix. Say that I want to brush up on cross-site scripting and CSRF. Well, maybe I just want to select both of those categories, and I want to do labs that are apprentice or practitioner. And at the moment, there's no way to do that. You can only select one of those categories and then one of those difficulties, and it takes away some of that randomized element. The other thing is a lot of the labs are not available in the mystery pool. So I talked to Portswigger about this. They said it was due to the objectives not being compatible, but it would be good to see some fix for this in future, I think. And it would be really cool if we could spin up practice exams that use like 3 random vulnerabilities, or at least make some more practice exams that have more variation because the 2 that exist at the moment are very similar. And finally, not related to the exam, but it'd be great to see a competitive element like Hack the Box Battlegrounds. Maybe you could have it so that 2 users spin up the same mystery challenge at the same time, and the first to solve it gets a point, and then it's like best out of 3. You'd have a leaderboard and things like that. That's about it. Let me try and keep this short enough. I know my last review was like an hour long. I'll try and keep this one under 20 minutes. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed the academy. I enjoyed the exam. I wish I did it earlier because whenever they first released the exam, it was almost free. I think it was free at the start. And I'm not too sure what certification is next, maybe the OSWE or the CBBH, but I'm not in a big rush. As I say, I want to try and spend some more time on bug bounty, so that's probably my next goal. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks.